Hello, everyone. My name's Kieran. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Newport County pre-match podcast. I don't really need to introduce what game this is. Newport County, Manchester United, fourth round of the FA Cup, Sunday, the 28th of January. Just weird to be able to say that. But I'm joined by Double A today, who does United content and is within that kind of space. So first of all, mate, thank you for taking the time out of your day to have a chat with me ahead of the fixture.
No, thank you for the invite to come on. You know, like I say, I don't think I've ever watched a Newport game, so it's something new for me, obviously. And it's the FA Cup, so I'm looking forward to it. So I'm excited to learn a little bit about you guys today and in preparation for Sunday, for sure.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to kind of just talking about Newport, because of course I'll format this one slightly differently to usual. But we'll start off with kind of just United and their league position. 8th in the Premier League at the minute. Doesn't look too fantastic when you kind of look at the heritage and everything that United have had. How was the season went for you so far?
Well, simply put, mate, the wheels have fallen off, really. You know, after such a good season last season, but obviously the season before, 21-22, sort of Ollie getting sacked, Ranić coming in, the worst ever performing Manchester United team in the Premier League, lowest points that we've ever had in the 30 years of the Premier League. To get Ten Hag in, who was a lot of the people sort of hipster choice to be the next big thing as a manager. Obviously, a lot of the United fan base were absolutely buzzing with that appointment. Last season, obviously, gets us back into the Champions League, where I feel we deserve to be, given the stature of the club and what we hope to do and where we think we should be in sort of the landscape of football. Getting us a trophy, finally another one. You know, it was gearing towards maybe a resurgence and it was clicking in the right way. And then you were kind of hoping for that to continue on to this season. And as we've seen out the Champions League at the group stage, out the Carabao Cup, obviously we've got the FA Cup against you guys. So, and you know, probably not going to finish in the Champions League places now. And, you know, with the whole sale saga, it's not looking great, Manchester United at the moment. I know some things are starting now with Jim Ratcliffe. However, you perceive to see who he is, what he's going to do for the club and what his ambitions are. But in terms of Ten Hag and the players, you know, I think there's a real disconnect, not only between Ten Hag and the players, but also the fans now as well. And, you know, the last game against Spurs at Old Trafford was one of the worst I've been to in terms of atmosphere. I feel the fans have kind of lost their way and lost their belief in the players and manager. And, you know, they've got a lot of making up to do to get the fans back on side because, yeah, it's not a happy place, Old Trafford, at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely in contrast to kind of what we have. You mentioned sale and the club sale. As of yesterday, Hugh Jenkins has agreed to take a 52% shareholding takeover, if you want to say, of the club. He used to own Swansea for over a decade. He took them from the bottom end of League Two all the way up to the Prem, up to a League Cup win, European football. So in that regard, you know, we're very different in the kind of ownership qualities and the ownership ambitions, I suppose, even though we're less than a day into it, admittedly. And we talk our league position, we're 14th in League Two, which, you know, doesn't look massively huge when you look at it, but 6 points off the playoffs. We're 15, 16 points clear of relegation, which was something we feared of at the start of the season. We've made a signing in a left Scott, which is absolutely fantastic in its own. He used to play for Plymouth in League One, was a real bagsman, but from what I hear, his time in Scotland didn't end too well and didn't go too well. But yeah, we're looking very good in terms of kind of on the pitch and off the pitch regard. We're 7 games unbeaten since the start of the year. Recently came off of a 1-0 win against Welsh rivals. I won't say Derby, but against Wrexham, which, you know, is equally massive in its own regard. So yeah, it looks we're very different in terms of form and in terms of confidence off the pitch, I suppose, necessarily. But I guess the next thing I want to kind of go into is the players you've got, because I've seen that you have a lot of players injured. Martial's injured for 10 weeks or so, and this was something that came new but after I wrote an article previewing the game. You've got Onana and Amrabat, who of course are out on international duty, and there's many other injuries. Is there any other occurring updates that maybe I wouldn't be aware of in terms of availability and all that kind of stuff?
No, I think, we've obviously heard late last night. Obviously, United had a friendly behind closed doors friendly against Burnley, which apparently we lost. Obviously, that's by the by. Really, it's not an important thing, is it? It's more about keeping your fitness. Obviously, we've not played for sort of 2 weeks. The players need to keep up that sharpness, and I believe Martinez and Casemiro and Maguire all played in that. So that means they're possibly in the mix for Sunday. Obviously, we've had a few loans. Obviously, Hannibal's gone on loan, and is it McNeil or Hugo? One of them two have gone on loan as well. Can't remember which one it is. Gone to Burton. Young striker, obviously Fernandez and Palicia looks like he might be going on loan as well. So I think it's the same names really. Obviously, like you say, the Onana thing. Finally get to see Bayinda hopefully start for Manchester United. I think he should have played well before now. So a lot of fans are looking, because we have no idea if he's good or not. We know he's played 500 games for Fenerbahce, which is, it means something to play for one of the big three clubs in Turkey. Obviously, international. I think he played in the win over Germany. I think he played in not too long ago in the international breaks. So he's clearly got some sort of class and something about him to play for his national team and like I say, one of the three bigger clubs in Turkey. And it's a player that Ten Hag wanted when he was at Ajax to replace Onana when he left. So clearly someone he knows about. It's just weird that he's not managed to play yet, and the whole saga around Onana really wanting to stay and play 2 games we didn't need him to play against Wigan and Spurs. And then we've seen how his AFCON's gone. He's missed the first game, didn't save a shot in the second game, and then he got dropped for the third game, but obviously they're still in the tournament. So, it seems like it was just a big mess over nothing. And I think, Bayindir deserves a chance to see if he's, even worthy of being a number 2, never mind the number 1. So that's what I think most Manchester United fans are looking forward to most in this game. I think is seeing what we've got in Bayindir. Other than that, I think the team really picks itself. I think it'll be a strong team. I know we got Wolves a few days after, but we're kind of like say Martial being out for 10 weeks. It's not surprising because he's not been in the team for a while now, and I think that pretty much signals the end of his Manchester United career. Obviously, his contract's up in the summer. And I think the majority of the fan base now, other than the sort of Martial FC people, will be quite happy to see the back of him, because he's not reliable. He's not someone that we can trust to lead the line for us or even keep fit. And that's, the best ability is availability, as a lot of people say. So, Højlund to start. I wouldn't mind seeing if Ahmad's back to fitness. It'd be nice for a youngster like that to get a game. But I'm expecting a strong team, because Ten Hag does take the cup competitions serious, as we saw against Wigan. But other than that, I think they're pretty much similar lineup or bench and squad that we saw against Spurs. You'll probably see on Sunday.
I mean, that's very interesting. It's one of the things where we were kind of having a debate within our own group of whether United would go full strength to, I suppose, get a good run in the cup and compensate for, I suppose, what has been a lackluster league campaign, to say the least. And based off what you're saying about Ten Hag taking the cup seriously, I wouldn't expect much different from a full strength team, which worries me to a degree. But at the same time, there's inconsistencies within your form, and I'm sure there is ways that you can be broken down. In terms of our squad availability, the usuals are out. We've got our friend Zanzala. He signed from Barrow back last summer and has been injured for a majority of his time at Newport. I said last summer, 2 summers ago, and he's been injured for the majority of it. Omar Bogle, one of the key players we've had this season, is also out for this game. So it's unfortunate, but Left Scott's hopefully going to be able to kind of cover that option. Whether he starts or whether he's fit enough to play on Sunday is going to be a different question, of course, joining midweek. Other than that, Matt Baker could be a touch and go whether he plays or not. We signed him on loan from Stoke City on his second spell at the club, young centre back, being one of the kind of key players we've had at the back. And you'd hope that he is going to be available, but it's going to be very questionable as to whether he is. But the key players, Will Evans, he's got 15 goals in the league, apparently wanted by championship clubs for a certain amount of time. But I don't know whether anything actually developed of that. So, there's touch and go on that as well. And yeah, realistically, our squad looks to be fit and up for rotation. I wouldn't imagine it'll be any different to what we lined up with against Wrexham because, we've not got a game until the following week against Swindon. So we have the opportunity to be able to play full strength and focus on this game, which is one thing we've done this season a lot, is take one game at a time and be able to field the full strength side. But one thing we haven't been able to do, which is very different, and it's very nice, have options to rotate. We've never really had, up to this season anyway, a bench full of first team quality players, senior players. Yeah. At the worst part of it, we had, 4 or 5 youth players who had never played a senior game of football on the bench. So it was one of those things of, to actually have these options to rotate is very nice, and it's very, very unique. So, yeah, I'll go back onto the United squad because I don't really watch the Premier League, and I obviously hear things because of the Premier League, it gets around and all this stuff. But in terms of key players that you think can cause Newport damage, of course, you came in third round against Wigan, beat them 2-0. Do you expect a similar kind of performance from the players who got on the score sheet or who played well that day?
Yeah, I think with this game, obviously massive favourites against a League Two team, you would expect United to really be in control of the game. Obviously, I know this United team can be quite soft, and teams can really. We saw Wigan get us like a little bit, and I think given it's you're at home and your crowd, obviously, regardless of how bad Manchester United might be, it's always Manchester United. That name will always carry weight. So I can understand, the excitement buzzing around Newport this coming week. Obviously, it's a giant coming, and we at the FA Cup, we all know. And listen, as a United fan, I'm never on the side you will be, but a giant killing is something everyone loves to see. And I think that's the neutrals will be absolutely frothing at the mouth for you to beat us on Sunday. So it's one of them where your manager doesn't have to say anything this week, does he? He just has to say, listen, it's Manchester United. You've got the chance to write your name in the history books, go out there and give everything you got. And I expect you to go at us from minute one. And, you look at certain players, Bruno, Casemiro, if he starts, Varane, even players like Delo. I think in games like that, where it's just a really small ground, the crowd are on you. And, that expectation for you to go there and dominate, sometimes some players can lose their heads and lose the confidence and not turn up. And I think that's what you will be betting on. And I think your players will be absolutely raring to go. I think in terms of us, if Rashford starts, he obviously, given how poor he's been this season and his troubles trying to, find the form that he had last season in terms of scoring goals, he will be looked to as the man to sort of cause you the most issues and really look to punish you on that left-hand side. Garnacho has been, as a young player, I think a little bit too much is expected of him in a Manchester United shirt, given how young he is. And that's down to Manchester United's failings in that area. So, we're relying on a 19-year-old kid to be a starter and a world beater and to put in 7, 8 out of 10 every single week, which is not always the case. And, he'll sometimes get likened to Ronaldo or Rooney, and compared to them, it's like, well, it's not fair to do that because those two are generational talents, and not every player can be a generational talent, despite the promise that they show in their early days. And I'm one of them. I'm very patient with Garnacho. I can see the talent there. I can see the drive, and the attitude seems to be right. I don't expect him to be a world beater every game, but I imagine a game like this he'll be absolutely relishing. I think he was decent against Wigan, and all that front three really should be licking their lips and hoping to score a lot of goals. Højlund, if he starts, I think we need to look to create for him a lot more. We're not doing that enough. He's very rarely passed to, very rarely created for. If we start to do that, I think we will start to see some goals from the lad. And I think it's a game he has to be looking at and thinking and speaking to the boys and saying, you need to put this ball in the box for me on Sunday because I trust myself to score goals against this team. And then you're looking at captain Bruno needs to show up, needs to lead from the front, and as much as the game might be enjoyable, it needs to be professional performance for Manchester United. And I think that's the best way we need to look at it. Is just be professional, get in there, and shut the game down early, even if it's 2 or 3 goals early, and then we can take the foot off the gas and look forward to Wolves. I don't expect it to go that way because I know it's Manchester United, and Manchester United don't do that. So I'm expecting it to be cagey and rocky, and I expect you to get a few chances. It's just whether your boys can put the ball away. But to narrow it down, I think the front three, Bruno, and I'd like to see Casemiro come back into that midfield and, marshal that because he needs to get the game time. So they'd be the standout names, I think, from a Manchester United point of view. We'd be looking to really punish you on Sunday.
I mean, I'd imagine so, and it's definitely a confidence booster for the players that, if you are to make rotations, the players that will get rotations could get confidence should they put in a good performance. But in terms of the history of this competition, you've won it, I believe it's 14 times. That's only behind Arsenal with 16 in terms of the record winnings of the competition. We're very much known for a giant killing. We beat Leicester in the Cup a few years back. We took Tottenham to a replay at our place, and we beat Middlesbrough, Leeds. Even this season, we were playing Brentford in the EFL Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever you want to call it, and we took them to penalties with a 92nd minute winner, or equaliser rather, and it was unfortunate we couldn't score a single penalty, but it definitely shows that we have the ability and the heritage, I suppose, to actually cause an upset, whether it's going to be something that we can do against United, because one of the unique things about this fixture from the Newport perspective is that the manager has been a lifelong fan of United. Nathan Wood, he's one of our players, he's a fan of United. Scott Bennett, Will Evans. There's a lot of players in that in our squad, even first teamers, the manager even, that will want to essentially get a game over United. And what he has been saying in the build-up to the match in terms of our manager, Graham Coughlin, he's been saying, go out there and enjoy it, but realistically leave the best account for yourself. And, we can do something special. But there's a very different, atmosphere that you probably expect, given we're a League Two club playing a Premier League club, that this time makes our club £400,000 or something along those lines, which you look in terms of Premier League money, that's nothing. But League Two, it's massive. It can near enough fund our club for an entire season. So it's one of those situations where no matter what the result, of course, we're going to want to go out there and start on the front foot, really press you, and hopefully use the home atmosphere with our new temporary stands up as well, which should bring the attendance to about 10,000 or so, which I understand isn't quite Old Trafford in terms of the attendance numbers, but in terms of League Two, it's quite high, and it's already a sellout. The tickets went on sale on Monday in terms of the rest of them, and they sold out within 45 minutes. There's a genuine, there's a genuine buzz, like I've said many a times during this. There's a genuine hope. Maybe it's naivety, but there is a genuine hope that if you are to draw any Premier League club in terms of a really big wealth-making Big Six club, if you want to put it that way, then you want it to be Man United. Out of the global influence, because like you said, it's the name of Manchester United. No matter how you perform, it's out there anyway. And for the exact reason that you are, in terms of the Premier League anyway, pretty inconsistent. I can't remember the exact form, but you end up beating Villa and then the next week losing to Nottingham Forest kind of thing. So it's one of those things where if we can catch you on an off day, anything can realistically happen. But in terms of this game, how do you sense it going in terms of a score prediction, so to speak? I understand that they're very unpopular. I quite hate them because most of the time when I say them, I get them completely wrong. But how do you sense this one going? Do you think it's going to be as comfortable as the Wigan game from a scoreline perspective?
I'd expect a few more goals from Manchester United in this game, just because, eventually we're going to have to start to click. The attack is going to have to start to click at some point. And I think, these scrappy 1-0, 2-0s or a 1-goal advantage in a game in the result, eventually, it's going to have to click somewhere. And I don't, not to say bad against Newport, but it's a perfect game for Manchester United to start to put a team to the sword, because we don't look like doing that at all. These stats going around about we create so many chances, but they're not clear-cut chances. They're not dangerous attacks. It's one pass and a shot. You know what I mean? And that counts as almost as an attack now or a chance. I'm really excited to eventually see Højlund live up to the promise. I believe in him. I think he's a great young player. He's been let down by the club in that he's been brought in as a 20-year-old and expected to lead the line in this Manchester United team, which is unfair for a player that's still learning the game. And, in a perfect world, in a world where we're not owned by the Glazers and we're not held to the debt, we're not held to having no money and greedy owners, that we would have brought an experienced striker in alongside him. I know everyone wishes it was Harry Kane, but that was never going to happen with Spurs, obviously, selling to a direct rival, their best player ever. It's not going to happen. So, a player like Marcus Thuram that was free and went to Inter, having a good season with them. They're leading Serie A and recently won the Supercoppa. He would have been brilliant on a free. Him and Højlund interchanging. It just gives him someone to learn off and someone to develop with alongside, because who's he got now? Marcus Rashford, who's not a number 9, and he's clearly struggling for form himself. And Martial, who we said earlier, can't stay fit, isn't someone you're going to look up to. So, unfortunately, he doesn't really have anyone there to really sort of help him develop as a number 9. But I trust in his ability, I trust in the promise, and I trust in he has all the skills and attributes to be, maybe say world class, but a really top level striker who scores lots of goals for a club that likes to create for him. So I think for him, we've seen in the Champions League, he's not a mug. He's done it, scored 5 goals in the Champions League. He's eventually got 2 in the league now. Perfect game for him to really build on that confidence. Got a goal against Spurs. He needs to carry it on now, do it 2, 3, 4 games in a row, getting involved, even if it's an assist, being involved in a goal or in some way is really important for him now. And like I say, this game's probably at the perfect time, coming off that goal, couple of weeks rest, working, training, seeing how he can develop. And, I'd expect him. I don't like doing sort of predictions really, like say 3-0, 4-0, but we should be looking at that. We should be really looking to put you to the sword. I do expect it to be a lot trickier than what people probably imagine, just because, like I say, this Manchester United are really Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know who it is that's going to show up and play for the team. But in an ideal world, Højlund really does cause your defence all sorts of problems, as well as the 2 wide players. And we score multiple goals and build on that for our own rest of the campaign, really. Because the FA Cup now is so important. And that's why I do think Ten Hag will play a full strength side, because it's really the only thing we've got left to play for. So he really does have to sort of, although we're not out of the Champions League running, it's very difficult for United to get 4th or even maybe 5th now in the league. So the FA Cup, and his job's probably resting on that now as well. If you believe the rumours. So he kind of needs to put all these eggs in this basket. I expect a full strength side, and I expect Manchester United to turn up and be Manchester United and really cause you some issues. And hopefully it is a cricket score for us. Sorry about that, but
I mean, to be fair, I'd imagine that is what you should aim for. And realistically, if it isn't a cricket score, so to speak, then it's got to be something that you've got to put question marks on it. Yeah. We've had an FA Cup run so far anyway that, could be classified as quite kind to us. We beat Oldham 2-0 at home, National League side tier below us. Played Barnet, also National League. Drew to them 1-1 at our place, beat them 4-1 at their place. We then went on to Eastleigh, which are another National League side. We hosted them, drew 1-1 there, even though they had a red card, and it was for about 60 minutes of the game. So the fact that we didn't really put the game to bed in that regard wasn't very positive, as you'd imagine. Then we went to their place and comfortably beat them. I believe it was 3-1. So we've got a lot of not necessarily hope, potentially. There is potential bit of naivety that maybe we can do something, or there is the hope that we can do something. But, I'll very much go into it with realism. I don't expect us to beat you. And I don't think that's something that I can say that's harsh on my club. We've had a very good run up to now. We should expect realistically to lose it, but at the end of the day, if we can leave a good account of ourselves and kind of give ourselves confidence going into the rest of the league, that is probably where we can mainly focus on, is the league, and whether it be playoffs or just mid-table security for this season is a different question. There's a lot more ambition with the new owner coming in. There's a lot more ambition with the transfer policy almost that we've got. So there's a lot of hope for us in terms of a league position thing, and whether it is going to be a situation now of can we push further in the cup. Be an absolute miracle if we could. I think there's a lot of us that hope we pick up a draw here so we can go on an away day to United. I think there are other people that are saying that, but as much as I'd love an away trip to Old Trafford, I'd prefer to actually win the game and go through the next rounds. That's what I prefer. I don't think it's going to happen. I won't give a score prediction because no matter what I say, I'm going to be wrong. But I'll say that you comfortably beat us. But given how many chances we create a game in League Two that are actual chances, as opposed to, like you said, a pass and a shot, given how many chances we create, and with the new signing we've brought in, there is the potential that we could create something. There is a potential that we could get a goal off. And I think that's what a lot of us are hoping for, is that we actually score, because we did it against Man City a few years ago, even though we lost to them 4-1, I believe it was. Scoring in the first half was more than enough for us to go home satisfied. So that's the kind of, to us, if we score, it may as well be a win. But yeah.
Like I was saying before about Bayinda, he's never played for Manchester United. So straight away, your manager needs to be saying, listen, this keeper is untested in this, not only in this competition, in the country. He's never played a game for Manchester United. We don't know, and they don't know if this is going to get to him. So the crowd obviously being on him, put it in the mixer, test him, do everything you can to really rough him up. And you never know. It's the FA, like I say, the FA Cup is famous. There's a reason why it's the most famous competition in the world. The most prestigious. People come from different countries to the English game, and it's the competition they want to play in more often than not. So many players speak about it and the traditions of the cup. And listen, for me, it's still massively important for me. I remember United winning a lot of FA Cups. You think of '99 and that whole final and everything like that, and it means so much to Manchester United to be in it and to win it. And people say, "Oh, a lot of people say they'd rather not be in it anymore because the Champions League and winning the league have become so important to the big clubs." Where, I know a lot of United fans, and especially fans out of the top six or lower league, everything about the FA Cup is still so magical. You think of Wigan beating City back in 2013, and then even like we played Millwall in the FA Cup final. I think it was 2004. So and Pompey winning it and everything like that against Cardiff, and it's a dream for these small clubs. Like you say, the money you get from this game alone sets you up for a season. And if you can get a draw or a scrappy win, it just further develops that love and that magic that is the FA Cup. And you never, in this competition, you never know what can happen. If it goes your way in the day, you can end up winning, and it's not out of the realms of possibility. Like I say, you beat Leicester, you took Spurs all the way and stuff like that. So you've got this history and this prestige in form in the FA Cup to get a giant killing. And as much as Manchester United are the name Manchester United, I'd be very surprised if you didn't think you could get something. Your players didn't think, and manager didn't think you could get something, because we are a wounded animal at the end of the day, and we're very easy to get in amongst and cause upset and turn players' heads. And you see from players such Rashford, his body language. Bruno gets it a lot about his body language, and once it's not going their way, sometimes this Manchester United team can drop their heads and really take the after ball. If you were to get a goal up, I'd be worried if we had the mettle to come back into it, and we had the leadership and the ability to pick ourselves up. I'd expect us to, because it's international players, Champions League experienced players. winning players in some instances. But, you know, at the moment, confidence is very low in this team, and, you know, it doesn't take much to shake us. So as much as I'm confident we'll win, I know in the back of my head, Newport in the FA Cup definitely have a chance of causing at least some sort of upset for sure.
I mean, yeah, there's been people in the press who have said that Newport aren't a team that you can overlook just because of the history we've got, and you know, there's different kind of ambitions and expectations from even just both sets of clubs. Like you say, you expect United to go on and win it. In our case, we just hope to get through to the third, fourth round, fifth round if we're so fortunate, and get a good bit of money from it. So, you know, to even get this far in terms of our club, it's absolutely massive. So I wouldn't be upset if we go out this round by any means. And like you said, the FA Cup, even though you can look at it on paper, you're heavy favourites. Anything can happen. You've had Maidstone, who were in the sixth tier. They're, you know, through to the fourth round against Ipswich now. They took out a League One team during it. You had Horsham, who were through to the second or third round up until they ended up losing. And there's a load of clubs. Even last season, you had Grimsby, who got all the way to playing Brighton, and you know they picked up big results there. And as much as I don't like to say it, even Wrexham last season, they beat Sheffield United, who of course are in the Premier League now, and Coventry. And it's why there's been talks of course, FA Cup replays being scrapped and all this other stuff to essentially benefit the bigger clubs. And of course, being a lower tier fan, I'm not going to agree with that at all, because it's a competition that every team in the pyramids have a chance of getting through to, have a chance of qualifying through. And, you know, there's different forms of success in this competition. Yeah, United's, Liverpool's, Chelsea, City's want to go on and win it, but Newport, every team in League Two and below, even the ones in League One in certain circumstances, will want to just, you know, get through to a fourth round. If it includes a replay that's televised, that's extra money. And it's very much something that the FA Cup holds a very close place to me, because, you know, I never expect to see my club in the Champions League or in a European competition. So this, in our circumstance, we're playing Champions League winners, like you've said, people who are Premier League experienced or just European football experienced.
Yeah.
In terms of our circumstance, we'll arguably never be able to experience this again, or very rarely. Of course, it's the luck of the draw. So It's very different. Like I said, and like so many people say, very excited to Sunday, no matter what the result is. The hope is, of course, that we can pull something off, but at the end of the day, just being able to experience it as a lower league fan, a League Two fan, is just special in its own regard.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what you're saying. You can't really beat that, you know, big team turning up, and it would be a shame to lose replays, because, you know, if you were to come to Old Trafford, if it was Old Trafford on Sunday, you get a scrappy draw. You know, there's nothing better than taking United back to your place. Do you know what I mean? After even if you get beaten in the return leg, the fact you've conquered Old Trafford to bring us back to yours, that's what it's all about. And to take that away, I agree. I'm not a fan of a big club that thinks we should scrap anything in the FA Cup. Personally, I'd probably say, you know, the Carabao Cup should be one Premier League club should look to not have any more, and just leave that for, you know, teams outside the Premier League to fight for. And, you know, it's another trophy for the Football League to contest. I think that might work better, and, you know, keep the FA Cup as it is. You know, there's a reason why, like I say, it's so prestigious, and people love to play in it, and fans, you know, all around the world tune in for this tournament. So keep it what it is, and yeah, I think that's the whole magic and the beauty of the FA Cup, is those little teams that aren't expecting all the minnows, that aren't expected to do anything, getting those big results, and not only beating teams, but also getting them draws and taking them back to their stadium, and helping that, like say, helping their season with revenue that they wouldn't have got any other way, really.
Exactly. It's very different. It's something that you can't really describe in terms of watching the league. It's so different that, you know, you don't really care about the result as much, because it's not 3 points. It's rather, yes, it's progression and money, but like you said, we're not going to get it any other way. So to be able to say that we have it and we weren't going to have it regardless it's just a benefit. It's an extra thing that we can take from this season, which compared to what we expected, relegation worries, given who we lost, the players that had come in didn't have the stature potentially that we would have wanted or that we would have immediately looked for, because we're very much a team that go into the transfer policy if we don't pay for players. We bring players in on free transfers, whether that be, the contracts have been expired or terminated, or whether it be loans. We don't tend to buy players. It was the worry there, but we've done more than enough to credit where we are in the league and credit even pushing on further. And I think we've done more than enough to merit the reason we're here and merit the reason we're being able to say we're playing United. It's very different, and there's nothing quite like it.
Oh, brilliant, mate. Yeah, I think it'll be a great day for everyone in Newport. Obviously, a better town. Absolutely buzzing at the minute.
Oh, absolutely buzzing. And I've been talking to so many people ahead of it, and like we had Tottenham, we've had City, and we've had all these other teams, but it's really weird. United almost seem the bigger animal. I think the only other team that could potentially get to the level of this atmosphere and this buzz is Liverpool. I think that's about it. Like in terms of our circumstances, United and Liverpool, you don't get bigger than that. So yeah, it's fantastic. But yeah, unless you have anything else you kind of want to give on the game, I think we're ready to wrap it up there.
Yeah, no, mate. I think I'm just looking forward to it. Like I say, I love the FA Cup. Unfortunately, not managed to get a ticket. I am a season ticket holder, but never gonna. There was very rarely ever gonna get a ticket for it. So we'll be watching on TV. But I'm looking forward to a great game. And yeah, mate. Listen, if we win 2-1 and it's a scrappy game, I'll take it, because it means it's been an entertaining game. Personally, obviously, I'd love a 6-7-0. I don't think that'll happen, but I think it'll be a lot closer. But no, I am really looking forward to playing it, because we've played so many games at home. I think the Wigan game was the first in maybe 14 to 15 cup draws at home. Like couldn't get an away game, and having two smaller teams in Wigan, obviously local to us, and yourselves. I think United fans love that. We love, personally think we've got the best away support in English football. I think we really do turn up and our voices are heard. A lot of places, we sound louder than the actual home team. So I know the boys will do us proud in terms of making it a great atmosphere. I know your fans are going to be up for it, as you probably have been all week. So yeah, no, I'm expecting a really brilliant football game and an occasion. Really, that's the best way to say it. I think it's going to be a brilliant occasion. The David versus Goliath, and you just never know. But I'm really excited for it, and really happy we've managed to have a bit of a chat about it, mate, beforehand. It's great.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it too, mate. And yeah, I think with that, we're going to wrap it up here. I don't know if there's any more United Newport coverage I'm going to go through, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, if you've made it through the 40 minutes or near enough and enjoyed it, and of course want to see more Newport County related content, because that's all the stuff I produce, admittedly, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment your thoughts on the game down below. Do you think it's going to be an expected, comfortable United win? Or is there going to be the chance that Newport do a Newport, so to speak, and pull off another upset? Support the channel in whatever way you see fit using the links in the description. I'll make sure to put double A's links in the description to your Twitter. Is there anything else that you want me to chuck in there as well?
Just YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, the usual, yeah.
Yeah, I'll chuck that in there. Do you want to just have a quick talk about what you kind of produce for people to kind of go over there?
Yeah, so a couple of channels I have on YouTube. So Double AFC is obviously the football channel. So I don't just talk about United. So don't worry about that. If you hate Manchester United, you don't have to worry about that. Try and just cover different bits and looking at different angles in football, really, and not just talking about games and stuff like that, but players. My last video was a match vlog I did when I went over to Juventus, first time in Italy. So I went and seen Juventus. So that's one of my favorite videos I've done. Also, you probably see behind me, a big fan of football kits. I have another channel, Talking Kit. So we get on there, we get other people from the football kit community. We've got a show called Full Kit Rankers, where we get 5 shirts, 10 shirts, and we all rank them and kind of talk about them different, themes and topics and stuff like that. So yeah, Double AFC and Talking Kit are both on YouTube are the 2 channels. So if they take your fancy, just send us a subscribe and get involved in the community, as I like to say.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna have to send you over the limited edition Newport shirt, unless you've seen it already. It's like a mix and match of all the shirts we've had over the kind of past few years. I'm gonna have to send you it after this is up, because it's very unique. So yeah, other than that, I hope you've enjoyed kind of listening to this, watching this, depending on what platform you're watching it on, even though it's only on YouTube, so you'd be watching it. But irregardless, hope that you all enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're watching this. And let's hope that I'm coming on here and talking about how we've pulled off one of the biggest, if not the biggest, giant killings in the FA Cup, arguably ever. Take care.